This is another one of those conspiracy theories that came true. Geoengineering is a real thing. There has been testimony in front of the United Nations. People like Bill Gates and people in government are using geoengineering, which means spraying chemicals out of airplanes in our skies, things like aluminum and barium that are toxic.
And what is the purpose?
To dim the sun. One of the sources of all life on the planet. They want to dim the sun. Aluminum is toxic to all life forms. It has no biological function, use, anything. And it's neurotoxic. They are spraying neurotoxins on us that we can't avoid, that then go into our crops, that are taken up in our rivers and streams, and therefore irrigation water. It's one of the most blatant, flagrant violations of informed.
So chemtrails, contrails, whatever people want to call it, they are very much real, and they are poisoning us and our air, our water, our food, through vaccines, every possible way. It's like they want to destroy us. They want to make sure, whether they are poisoning us, poisoning our minds, trying to control us. There's a lot of layers to this, and there's just no denying it anymore. Every day I see new videos that pop up, but I thought this one was pretty unique.
All right, I'm going to prove to you that those clouds out there are chemtrails, and they are literally creating the weather. So if you look at this screenshot, you can clearly tell it's 1:52, and it's supposed to be cloudy at 3 p.m. Now I'm going to show you a few more clips going to 3 p.m. and after, so you can literally watch it in real time. Them literally creating clouds and covering the sun, because I'm not lying. I hope y'all realize they literally make the weather. That's how they know the weather. It's almost 2 p.m. right now, and at 3 p.m. for the next few hours, it's supposed to be cloudy. Now just watch. They're not predicting it, they just make it. And here's the proof. It's right in front of your eyes. Please wake up. These are not clouds. They are chemtrails. They make you dumb. They make you sick. They block out the sun, which is the most necessary nutrient on the planet.
Does anyone else find it odd that whenever it's a sunny day, but the weather report says that it's going to be cloudy, a bunch of planes go up and start leaving contrails all over the sky? Just a few hours ago, it was completely sunny, but the weather report said that it's going to be cloudy, and I look up and I see at least 10 planes spraying or leaving contrails all over the sky. Those contrails started turning into something that looks like a cloud, but after around an hour or so, they went away. But don't worry, around 15 other planes were ready to go right back up. It's currently almost 3 p.m. and they've been spraying or leaving contrails for the last 4 hours now. And it doesn't seem like they're going to stop because they're updating the weather report every hour saying clouds incoming, clouds incoming. It's going to be an extremely cloudy day. It's actually saying it's going to be cloudy for the next week. It almost seems like they're trying to modify the weather, but if you would have said that a few years ago, you would have been told that you're a conspiracy theorist, because they had not yet admitted that they had been doing geoengineering and cloud seeding for the past 30 to 40 years. But now it's openly available information. For whatever reason, whenever people look up and see loads of lines in the sky, they don't think anything of it, and they think this is just natural weather. Look at the cloud.
So now it's not conspiracy theory. This is very much real. Our government has talked about it, investigated it. They're supposed to creating a task force to, look into it. But really, are we going to believe any of that? Now, this video is unique because it ties into even deeper conspiracy theories. The guy's not saying anything, but hopefully you can capture what's going on the screen.
Chemtrails over American skies. Are they part of some secret?
Chemtrails and contrails. Do you know the difference?
Let's see some class. Look at this. So I flip this to L2, and then I bring this to 1, and fire.
So tying in, with it saying bail. Now, that is going into very deep layers of the conspiracy. But guys, nothing is a coincidence. Absolutely nothing is a coincidence. And I think we're learning that, especially nowadays, as more people are waking up to what was once conspiracy theories. Well, no. They were not conspiracy theories, a term that the CIA made up to debunk people who were speaking truth or asking questions, which they don't like. And so that is what people labeled you as. But just give it some time. Sometimes it's a couple of years, sometimes it's decades, or even a couple of months or weeks, and then these things are proven true. Now, this is a time lapse of a chemtrail. So you can see it just going down, and anyone can do this. If you go outside, especially on a bright and sunny day, a blue sky, you will see these things up there. Now, I have another layer of this. I'm not going to get into it in this video, but because I still want to unpack it. I've caught a few videos of it. But I know without a doubt there are chemtrails. I will go on Flight Tracker. I'll see a plane. I'll see the line coming out. I'll go on Flight Tracker, and then I will actually see the plane. I can look up the tail number, all of that information, right? But there are times. There was one day last week. It was absolutely insane. I kept seeing what looked like planes, and the way they were flying, it wasn't normal. And they were so high up, it made no sense to me. And it was just very bizarre. So I checked Flight Tracker, no flights. There were no planes on there. So either Flight Tracker was not documenting these, but I don't think so, because they even do this with the military planes and with war. This is how people have found out different information. So I just said to myself, these aren't planes. But this ties back into my bobbies, the orbs, all right? And I have some other people who have filmed it where they actually will leave like this trail. It's very difficult to describe. Again, I'm going to unpack that. But if you guys have seen that, where they are, if you check, I use Flight Radar 24, where there's no planes supposedly in the sky, but yet I will see this. And the way they're flying, guys, it defies how a normal plane would fly. Like they will literally be shooting straight up, then like do a turn right there in front of me, but like in a way that a plane wouldn't be able to do. It's very bizarre, but again, I will unpack that some more, but I wanted to put that out there because I always tell you there are layers to all of this, right? But let me play this one for you.
Think geoengineering is just science experiments? Think again.
Our own government has been involved for decades, spraying chemicals into the air with no regard for the people.
When governments say they're approving it, they're already doing it, often behind the scenes, run by the military and shadowy contractors. And you probably have no idea what's coming next. A former military whistleblower warns that, just like the COVID pandemic response, geoengineering programs are frequently controlled through military channels and private contractors rather than civilian oversight.
But why are they doing this?
I think there's a multitude of reasonings. You control the weather, you can handicap many people. We did it flooding the Ho Chi Minh Trail. But when you had this huge climate change initiative, we needed to find ways to dim the sun and decrease the solar load. So this is fear-based, and I also think it's financially incentivized through betting on crops.
The implications are huge. Geoengineering, the deliberate manipulation of the environment on a massive scale, is often sold as a solution to climate change. But if it's controlled in secret, the public has no way to know what's being tested or deployed. Critics warn of unintended consequences, altered weather patterns, disrupted ecosystems, and global effects we can't predict. And yet, much of this work happens under a veil of security and secrecy, keeping the risks out of the public eye.
A lot of them are heavy alkaline metals and salts, and what they do, again, is that synergistic toxicity. You're breathing it in, you have the dermal absorption and an inhalation. And it does depend on relative humidity and different weather patterns. Like I live in Michigan, so we have all seasons in the same day. The dissipation rates are faster. When you ingest that, it is eating away at your gut health. And the thing is when they're using strontium and barium, those things bioaccumulate in the bones, and it also displaces potassium. And if anyone's ever had low potassium, you know that causes a massive issue with your nerves and your heart, and it can mimic a heart attack.
It begs the question, should any government, military, or private entity have the power to manipulate the planet on such a scale without independent oversight? As awareness grows, so does the demand for transparency, public debate, and strict regulation. Whether you see geoengineering as a necessary tool or a dangerous overreach, one thing is clear. The conversation about control, ethics, and accountability is only just beginning.
Again, anytime the government tells us that they're doing it for one purpose, understand it's for a completely different one. And sorry if you hear there's a dog eating a bone underneath my desk right now, if you hear it. But anytime they tell us that, like who is still trusting the government? Who trusts anything that they say? Nothing that they do, I mean, since the beginning has been for our benefit or for our good. And I think most of us who are adults, we are seeing this, and the veil is being lifted as more and more people realize the truth. Now, speaking of the veil being lifted and the truth coming out, I want to play this clip of Joe Rogan because Joe Rogan, I believe, is controlled opposition, and more people are questioning him these days with a lot of things that he's been saying and doing, and they're seeing through it. Now, this goes way deeper, like I told you, like we're getting into, when I talk about fallen angels, and if you've never seen it, Joe Rogan looks identical, same skull, same markings, same wrinkles, and even the pit on their cheek, on his cheek, is the exact same as Aleister Crowley. Like I told you guys, the tinfoil is pretty. I'm not just in a tinfoil hat. I am in full body armor of tinfoil. But I wanted to put that out there to kind of, for any of you who have seen some of that information, understand where that's coming from. But I got the reading on this a while ago, and I will say anyone who is big, anyone on the news, anyone who's a big podcaster, anyone who's getting all these deals and all of it, I just don't trust it, right? It doesn't mean I have concrete things about the person, but that's just a rule of thumb I live by for myself. Yes, sometimes they can have good information, good guests, or things like that. But understand everything is controlled. What we see, tell a vision, right? Tell a vision. And television also includes the form of the way, the forms and the ways that we actually view things. Most people aren't watching TV a lot anymore. So what did they switch to? What did the government, what did the elites need to do? Well, they need to plant people into whatever things people are looking at. And that includes like influencers. I have seen so many different things. And as soon as it just hits my spirit and I just say, something about this is too much. Their guests are too big. They grew too big. They're making too much money. They're too prominent, too many people. Even if they seem as opposition, guys, always keep your head on the swivel. Always keep your spiritual eyes open because the deception is very, very big. Okay, I had to kick the dog out because it was just too much. But this is what they do. Listen to how he's like, let's just listen to what his responses are to this guy. I think it's pretty telling.
Do you remember chemtrails? The thing that was stupid people thought was a real thing, but it was a conspiracy. Right. Well, it turns out that was real, and it's called geoengineering. They did the thing they always do, changing the name of the thing to not admit.
That's true, but a lot of the trails that you see in the sky that look like artificial clouds are just created because of condensation in the atmosphere, the moisture in the atmosphere hitting the hot jet engine in an incredibly cold climate. It literally creates clouds.
But it should be all of them. There shouldn't even be 20% of the time you spraying shit. We already know.
Well, I don't think it's that many. I think, but they definitely do spray shit. That's the problem. The problem is when everybody thinks that every fucking Southwest airline is spraying things to keep everybody docile. What you're that's the problem is that's easily disprovable. And what you do is you open the door for that allows them to do the real shit.
And speaking of the chemtrails, I think you could see like what Joe Rogan is doing. To me, it always reads as controlled opposition. It is just enough to, tickle people's ears, but then there's always some subversion or pushing people in a different direction. Do you get what I mean? But again, speaking of chemtrails, I just created this collection of new chemtrail shirts. I have a lot of different things. This is my conspiracy collection over at Real Melanie King. but I want you to take a look at this. It says chemtrails for a better tomorrow. It's my men's version. There you see the planes, right? And then I have it in different colors. And then this is the women's version of the same shirt. Okay, same thing, same design, and the different colors. And these are the ones I really, really love. So I'll show you this one. It's a men's version. Chemtrails, look, sky, the little house there. And of course, all the colors that you can get this in. And this is over at my merch store. And this is a way that you guys can help support the work that I'm doing here. You guys have been amazing with that. It's just I'm overwhelmed by the support, and it really helps me keep going because like I told you, I've been invited on podcasts. I get sponsor offers all the time, but I just don't know who to trust. So this is one way God has just shown me, you know what? We're going to make a way out of no way, and this is one way that God has given me an opportunity to share these things with you guys. But I think I love this design. I really do. So this is a different version of it. Right. So those are the ones for men. And then for women, I feel like the women have more colors. There's a lot more colors for women that I can choose from, but there you go. Same design as I had on the for the men. And then there's this one right here. So again, this is my chemtrails collection within my conspiracy theory merch. Now, you can either, the link will be below. And a lot of people have been saying, well, Melanie, I don't really want a shirt, but I want to support the work you're doing. Well, that's why I've added a donation link that is also below. And it's also on my website where you guys can actually support me directly. But then also you can become a member of the channel. It's just a couple bucks a month, and it helps to, keep the work going, help me do the research and talk about a lot of topics from an angle that most people are not, right? Or that aren't like big headlines. They're not going to get the most attention. They're not going to get the crazy views, but they are important things to wake people up and to talk about these things because, there was a lot of suppression for a while where if you even touch these subjects, well, you would be taken off the internet. You would not have, and you would have no way to be able to fight back. And so I do see those days coming back, especially the censorship laws that are on the books right now. But until then, this is the best we're going to do. I'm going to be here until they literally shut the lights off. So anyway, all of the links will be below in the description box. But yeah, I will see you guys on the next one.